everyone. Sorry, I'm just getting the camera sorted out. So yeah, tonight is week 1 of our Oxbow Sew Along Tote. Our Oxbow Tote Sew Along. So this is the bag we're going to be making. It's by Noodlehead. It's a lovely pattern. I had a lot of fun sewing this up. It's a great, this is the regular size. There are 2 sizes. So this is the regular size, and it sewed up so nicely. I'm very happy with this bag. Let's talk about some of the features of this bag. So there is a front little pocket there. You can put a magnetic snap there to keep it closed if you're worried about stuff falling out. It has a rectangular box bottom. This is all one piece, and then you sew it to the exterior pieces. There is a crossbody strap, so if you want to carry it over your shoulder, and then there's hanging straps as well. This is just big enough to get over my shoulder with just regular clothes on. If you have a jacket and you want to wear it over your shoulder, you may want to consider lengthening these straps. And then let's talk about the inside. So it has a zipper closure at the top. I have used a zipper by the yard. It is super easy to sew, and we'll be talking about that during our sew along. Inside, you get a nice roomy interior, and there is a slip pocket that I have divided into 2, and that's the interior. So, one thing I will show on one of the samples that I'm doing is a inset zipper pocket on the lining. The pattern doesn't call for it, but I think it's a really nice feature, so I am going to be doing a little video about how to do that separately. It will be on our YouTube page. So if you're looking to learn how to make inset zipper pockets, I'll show you how to do that. It will be posted in a week or so. I'm also going to do another little standalone video for doing a like a slip pocket for your carry-on, so that you can put the handles through the slip pocket so you can attach this to your carry-on. This is what it would look like. So I have this sample. This is the overnight size. So you can see it is quite big. And I have created a little slip pocket for my carry-on handles. I am going on a trip soon, and I'm hoping to use this on my trip with my carry-on. So yeah, I'll show you how to do that on a standalone video. And yeah, so the Oxbow is a super fun tote, super fun sew. So we'll be talking about how to do it start to finish. And I hope it's super helpful for you. If you have any comments while we are going along tonight or any of the other future nights, please just make a comment on the video, and I will hopefully see it and respond to you. If you are watching the video after the live has happened, we do monitor all of the comments, so if you have a comment or a question, please don't hesitate to post it, and we will answer it within about 24 hours or so. So let's talk about what you need for the sew along. So first of all, you will need a copy of the pattern because the pattern is very important if you want to sew this bag. I will not be showing you how to cut pattern, or I will not be showing you how to make the pattern pieces. So you will need a copy of the pattern to make it. You will need some jeans needles. I like to use jeans needles because they are nice and strong and they are super sharp, and usually when you're doing bags you have thicker materials and you need a really sharp, strong needle. So definitely jeans needles. Some other stuff that can help you is Annie's basting tape. Sorry for the glare there. This is a really handy basting tape. It is a 1/4 inch wide, so super narrow, so that means it can go into your seam allowances and you don't have to worry about it poking out. It is permanent and it does not wash away, so keep that in mind when you are applying it. I really like to use this for when I'm basting in my zippers. Instead of doing a basting stitch, I tend to attach this and then attach it to the zipper to the bag, and I find it holds really nicely, and then I don't have to waste time doing a basting stitch. I just like it better. I will also be using, so I'm just grabbing some stuff, Wonder Clips. These are the jumbo ones, but the smaller ones are fine too. I am late to the Wonder Clip train or bandwagon. I'm first and foremost, I'm a garment sewer, and I just can't get on Wonder Clips for those. So I only use pins for when I'm sewing garments, but for bags, I love Wonder Clips because there's a lot of times I'm using materials that cannot be pinned, or they're thicker materials, and when you put the pin through, it makes bubbles in the fabric, and it just kind of distorts things. So I really like to use Wonder Clips. Yeah, and they come in fun little colors, so that's really nice. So that's a handy thing to have. A rotary cutter and a mat would be also a really good idea. A lot of the pattern pieces are rectangular, so you can cut them with a ruler and a rotary cutter, and I find that much easier. I'm team rotary cutter all the way. I cut out pretty much all of my patterns with a rotary cutter and very rarely use scissors for cutting out my patterns. So there you go. Yeah, so those are some tools that will help. I think that's kind of it. Let's talk about the actual materials you'll need for your bag. So first of all, you need an exterior fabric. I am using this really cool gingham plaid from Merchant & Mills. It is an oilskin, so it has been treated with some sort of oil mixture, and so it's water resistant, and it makes the fabric a little thicker. You can see it's got a bit of a shimmer to it, and this stuff is great for bag making. Now this stuff though, once you puncture it with a needle, the hole is there forever, so you have to be very careful that you are sewing the right thing with this stuff, so because it will show it forever. So that's what I'm using for my exterior. You will also need a lining fabric. I recommend quilting cotton, as does the pattern. It just works the best because it's easy to sew. It comes in lots of fun colors and prints, and so it's a great one to choose. I'm using this for my lining. I think this is super fun. This collection came into the store a little while ago, and I fell in love with it, so I'm super glad I get to use that. I'm going to use black webbing. You do need 1.5 inch webbing for this. This is for the handles and for the carry-on strap. So, and you need a decent amount. Yeah, the lining isn't amazing. I love it. It reminds me of St. Patrick's Day, which, you know, we just had. I don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but it reminds me of it. So yeah, webbing, you'll need 1.5 inches. Now, the pattern does call for some 1-inch webbing if you want to use webbing for this part. So this is where the D-ring is attached to the bag. You can use webbing, or you can actually use your exterior fabric. I chose to use the exterior fabric on this because I didn't have any 1-inch webbing that went with this. So either or is fine. And you will need some zipper. I'm using zipper by the yard. So this stuff comes in a long length, and you get zipper pull. Oh my gosh, I just threw the zipper pull across the room. Luckily I have another one. This is the zipper pull that you attach to the zipper by the yard. I will show you how to do that. It is super easy, and I have a fun handy tool that actually helps. This is a zipper jig. I can never say that right, and I always mess it up, so I had to slow down for that one. So this is a zipper jig, and we'll be learning how to use this. It makes putting on these pulls so easy. So yeah, super handy tool. We do sell it at the store. If you're interested in getting one of these, super worth it, especially if you do use a lot of zipper by the yard. So that's the zipper I'm going to be using. Now you can use a fixed length zipper. The pattern will tell you what length to get for the size you are making, because there is 2 sizes. There's the regular size, and then there's the overnight size. Your first zipper, it's going to be fine. People are super scared of zippers, but zippers are not really that scary. I actually teach at the store a zippers class where we learn how to install 4 different types of zippers. People always come in terrified, but once you know the steps, it's fine. So you'll be in good hands, and we'll get you having a successful zipper on your bag. So yeah, so zipper, you can use fixed length. You can use metal if you want, because metal are very durable zippers. You can use a regular nylon coil zipper as well. Whatever you want to work with, there you go. I love zipper by the yard because it also comes in a bunch of different colors and finishes. I'm using gunmetal finish for this bag. I thought it would be kind of nice, and so yeah, so that's what I'm using there. You will also need some hardware. So I am using one of these Sally Tomato basic hardware kits. This is a level 3. So this has one slider, which is this guy. It has 2 swivel hooks, which are these guys, and it has 2 D-rings, which are these guys. Now this one is a 1.5 inch kit, so the D-rings are the D-rings are 1.5 inches. So it different than what the pattern calls for. The pattern calls for 1 inch. We didn't have any 1 inch in stock, so I've decided I'm going to try the 1.5. I'm pretty sure it's going to work just fine, and I think I'm going to use some of the webbing to attach it. So yeah, if you are only able to get your hands on 1.5 inch D-rings, that's fine. These kits are perfect for this. Everything comes all together, and then you don't have to worry about buying all the bits and bobs. So that is what I am using. And so that's for the exterior pieces, the lining, that stuff. So we now need to talk about how we are going to interface this bag. Most bags are interfaced, and that is what's giving them their structure and their durability. So the lining, this quilting cotton, is going to be interfaced with a medium weight woven fusible interfacing. So this is, yeah, Stephanie, you'll be fine with the 1.5. So we're going to see how it works, but I think it's going to be just fine. This is the medium weight woven interfacing that I'm going to use. It's fusible, so that means there's glue on one side. I am going to iron it to my lining pieces. You can use white if your fabrics are light colored. My bag was kind of darker, so I thought I'd go with the black. I haven't actually used black interfacing in a bag before, so there you go. So that's for the lining. Now, for the exterior of your bag, you have a bunch of different options. One thing I really like about the Oxbow Tote pattern is that you can customize this pattern to get different characteristics for your bag. So if you want a bag that's going to stand up on its own and not collapse at all, and it's going to stay open when you're trying to shove a bunch of crap in it, then you are going to want to use SF10, or sorry, not SF10. You want to use Soft and Stable. So Soft and Stable is a by Annie product. We sell it at the store, and it is a, let me just get a piece here. It's a foam. So it's a thin foam. I'd say it's like just under 1/4 inch thick, or it's around 1/4 inch thick. And this, as you can see, it's got quite a lot of body to it. And it doesn't really collapse easily. And once you get your exterior fabric on that, it's really going to hold your bag upright. So I think what I'm going to do for my bag is I'm going to take this exterior and I am going to quilt it to the Soft and Stable. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think it would be really cool. I love quilting in bags, and I love quilting, so I love to mix my two hobbies. Well, a couple of my two hobbies. So I am going to use Soft and Stable, and I'm going to quilt it to my exterior. Now, you don't necessarily have to quilt it to your exterior if you're using Soft and Stable. You can just baste it around the edges, and then when you go to sew your straps on, it's going to sew through all the layers, and it'll be nice and secure in there. So if you want a little bit more structure for your bag, definitely consider Soft and Stable. Now for this bag, I used a really lightweight corduroy for the exterior. So what I did is I actually quilted it to 2 layers of cotton batting. I used 2 layers because the cotton batting I used was quite thin. It was the Request Loft by Quilter Stream. If you want to do something, or if you don't want to use 2 layers, you can use what's called the next loft up, which is the Request Loft of Quilter Stream. It would quilt up nicely. I kind of wish I had, so this one I just did 2 layers of batting, quilted it to my exterior, and that's it. I kind of wish I had put some fusible fleece in here. So the pattern actually has you take fusible fleece and apply it to your exterior pieces. Fusible fleece looks like this. So it's like a fleece, and it's got glue on one side, and so you iron it to your exterior pieces. You can see it's got a decent amount of structure, not as like strong and structured as the Soft and Stable, but still you got quite a bit of structure there compared to some regular interfacing. So I kind of wish for this bag, once I had quilted my panels, that I had fused some fusible fleece to it. I didn't. I wish I had now. Now I'm kicking myself for not doing that. I mean, this bag still stands up quite nicely, but it does kind of flop over, and if I want it to like stay upright, it has to be filled with stuff. So I think some fusible fleece attached to that exterior would have helped. Now, if you have a thicker fabric, you might just want to do the fusible fleece. So this pattern, or sorry, this, get my pieces here. So this is a half finished overnight size. And so this is the front panel. I have just put fusible fleece on this canvas. Sorry, that light is really, because the canvas I've used is, I think it was an 8.5 or a 9 ounce canvas, and it's quite sturdy and thick on its own, and I didn't want to add too much bulk, so I just put fusible fleece on this. I wasn't going to quilt it with anything, and I don't think it really needs the soft and stable. I think it's going to be standing upright enough as well, especially because my webbing that I chose is quite stiff. The webbing that is on this bag is quite soft, so the webbing choice will also help affect the structure of your bag. So you might want to consider that when you're choosing your webbing. So yeah, this one is a polyester webbing, and it doesn't bend as easy. So it does have more structure. It's going to help hold that bag upright. So, oh, and the last thing we need is, so there's quite a bit of interfacing in this bag. The last thing we're using is Peltex. So Peltex, let me just grab some. Peltex is a really thick, non-woven interfacing. The stuff we had in store for a while was fusible on both sides. This stuff that I have here is not fusible at all. It's just sew in. But you can also get some that has the fusible stuff on one side. Any of those will work for this pattern. You technically only need to fuse it to one side of your exterior fabric, and then you quilt it to the exterior fabric. So the pattern calls for a double-sided fusible, but I don't know why, because you don't have to fuse the other side to anything, so I'm not sure why she chose that. But anyways, I am using for this one this non-fusible Peltex. You can see it's quite thick. It doesn't really bend easy, and that is going to give your bag a nice sturdy base in the bottom. So this part is going right here, and that's the only spot it goes. So it's really hard to see, but I got the Peltex in there, and then I just did some straight line quilting to connect it all together, to keep it all together. So that's all the interfacing that you're going to need for this bag. And I think that's all, yeah, that's everything. Oh, thread, you'll need thread, definitely. I just use normal 50 weight polyester. I find that works well for my bags. How is Peltex different from Decaville? Peltex is a definite non-woven. It is thicker than Decaville. Decaville, I haven't used Decaville a lot. We do have it at the store. I think Decaville was created as like an imitation leather almost, because it has an odd feel to it. It's thinner. I would say it's very similar in its structure. I personally, for this pattern, if I was to choose between Decaville and Peltex for the bottom, I would choose Peltex. I just find it's a little bit more structured for that. I think the Decaville would be too light, so I hope that answers your question. Decaville can be fusible though, so I think you can get sewn in and not fusible. So yeah, I haven't used Decaville a lot, but I'm interested in trying a pattern that has it. I haven't come across the pattern that I've wanted to make that actually has it as a suggested interfacing. So, okay. If you don't have any Peltex, Tanya, we will be getting more tomorrow at the store. So, yeah, we'll have lots. I think we got 10 yards coming. So, okay. So, here's our lovely bag that we're going to be making. I want to talk about a couple more things, and then we might just call it there. If you're going to be quilting your exterior pieces, the pattern recommends, and I highly suggest this as well, that you actually just quilt 2 panels and then cut your pattern piece out from it. So, for example, for this guy, for my exterior, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece that's big enough to fit this double, because this is only half the pattern piece. And then I'm going to cut a piece of Soft and Stable around the same size, and I'm going to quilt them together. So I'm basically quilting 2 rectangles into the quilting pattern that I want, and then I'm going to cut out my pattern pieces. The reason this is suggested is because sometimes once you start quilting, depending on how close together you quilt and what your materials you're quilting together, your pieces can shrink and they can get smaller. So I like to quilt a panel first and then cut my pieces out. That way I don't have to worry if the piece gets smaller or if something goes wonky, because sometimes when you're quilting, fabrics can shift around quite a bit and I don't want to have to deal with that. So I always quilt my panels first and then I cut my pieces out. I'm going to be using the same fabric for the bottom, the pocket, and the exterior. Well, thank you, Judy. The pattern also suggests that. Yeah, so it's definitely a good idea to do that for the quilting. I think I'm going to quilt the pocket as well. I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to quilt it, but I have an idea of following the gingham lines. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to see what inspiration strikes me. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use all the same fabric for the exterior. You can use an accent fabric for the pocket and for the bottom. I think that looks great. Sometimes I don't like to do that. So that's a personal choice you get to make. Oh, let's talk about some different fabrics you can use for the exterior. I know I did not mention this earlier. You can use a whole bunch of different fabrics. So what's really nice about this pattern is if, let's say you see a really cute quilting cotton and you're like, oh, I'd love that as a bag, but most bag patterns would say that that is too lightweight for your bag. You can actually just quilt that and make it stronger. And can you use the gingham oilskin the wrong way around? I think the back is solid. Yes, the back is solid. So this has actually been printed. It's hard to see because the light is shining through. Let's see if I can put my hand. But yes, you could use the back. I think it would not show through. Now, if there was some light behind it, it would show through. But your bag's going to be interfaced and lined and all of that. So you probably wouldn't have a problem with that. So yeah, you could use this the wrong side out. Fabric, technically, some fabrics have a right side and a wrong side, but you can use whatever you want. There's no rules in sewing. You can use the wrong side if it looks better for you. Yeah, I'm totally of the school that if it works for you, go for it. So yeah, you could totally use the wrong side for this. Now, when we're sewing with this, it will get crinkly, and if you don't like those crinkles, what you can do is you can take a hairdryer and just put your bag around, or like use the hairdryer around your bag, and it gets rid of those crinkles. But I think the crinkles kind of add nice character to it. Yeah, you could totally just change the pocket to the other side and it would be a nice little accent. Okay, fabrics that we want to use for the exterior. Quilting cotton, you could use any of that. We had a couple kilts that had lightweight Fabulism honeycomb fabric, and we just said quilt them up and it'll be perfect. You could use canvas, you could use a linen cotton canvas, like something from Coca or rifle paper or cotton and steel, Ruby Star. Any of those would work. You can use oilskin, you could use wax canvas, you could even use cork if you really wanted to. Cork would make a really nice sturdy bag and it would be quite durable. Cork is really nice to sew. And it could totally work. Yeah, there's lots of stuff out there that would basically as long as the fabric is not slippery or super thin, you'd be good to use it for this bag pattern. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. We've talked about materials and everything. So for the next week, next Tuesday, I'm gonna have all my pieces cut out. I'm not really going to show you how to cut out the pieces. There is excellent cutting diagrams in the pattern. Now I will say if you are doing something with stripes or plaid, you may want to match it because it'll just look nicer on your bag. I don't tend to match a lot of plaid in garments, but I do in bags, I find, because the pieces are small enough, it's easier to match. So I can talk a little bit next time about how I lined up my pieces so that I cut them so that they would be the same, or like the plaid would match up on the sides. So I will show that next time. We did have a couple of kits, and I think we have one left, of this beautiful rifle paper linen cotton canvas, and it has library books or books along it, and they're basically forming a big stripe. So you would do the same for that as you would for any other stripe. So I will show you how to do that. So I'm going to have my pieces quilted and cut out next time. I'm going to have all my lining cut out. I'm going to have all my interfacing cut out, and I'm going to have fused everything to the interfacing. So basically, I'll give you a little overview for the interfacing. All you do is you put your wrong side of your pieces to the glue side of your fusible interfacing, and then you just put your iron over it, and you hold your iron down and just move it to each spot. Don't glide your iron over it. There is some debate whether you should use steam or no steam for putting on interfacing. I just use steam. I don't know. I think it works great. Other people are like, no steam. So do what works for you. If you have any questions about the interfacing or anything that I talked about tonight, just make a comment on this video. It will be posted for tomorrow. Sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to post it. So yeah, just post a comment or email the store even, hello@fabricationsottawa.com. They will make sure I get the email and I will answer your questions. So yeah, so next time we are going to have all of our pieces cut out, and we are going to have everything interfaced. And I will have my pieces quilted, so I will talk a little bit about quilting the pieces, and like how do you want to quilt them and kind of stuff like that. It's easier if I can show you on a piece that's already done. So that's what we're going to do for next week. So yeah, if you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to put them out on a video once it's posted, and we will see everyone next week. Okay, bye.